have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights advocate, social justice warrior, the focal point of the civil rights movement, the founding father of equality for colored people. King grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. He was born on January 15, 1929. He had 2 siblings, Ada King and Christine King. He had started his education at the age of 5, a year younger at that time. He attended David T. Howard Elementary School. King then went on to skipping 2 years of his high school education, his first and last year. In 1955, King had earned his PhD in theology from Boston University, and this is where it all began. December 1st, 1955, the beginning of it all. Rosa Parks is arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. This sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a protest that lasted for a year and 15 days. MLK Jr. was the first prominent leader to emerge who led the boycott and was officially the first large-scale U.S. demonstration against segregation. May 17th, 1957, King delivers his national address, Give Us the Ballot. He explains that African Americans are guaranteed the right to vote due to the 13th Amendment. Dr. King states that if African Americans are given the right to vote, they will no longer have to bother the federal government with their civil rights. Then, the unthinkable happened. A sit-down demonstration in Birmingham, Alabama, led by MLK himself, on April 3rd, 1963. A week and a half later, on Good Friday, Police Commissioner Eugene Bull Connor arrests MLK and Ralph Abernathy for demonstrating without a permit. 4 days later, King writes a letter from Birmingham jail, defending nonviolence resistance to racism. In the letter, Dr. King writes about the horrible cinematic racism that the so-called white moderates who believed in his cause but didn't like the tension and the unrest caused by the protests. Later in the letter, Dr. King writes about how we need to protest injustice with civil disobedience and love. One thing that MLK strived for, love. 4.5 months later, on August 28th, Dr. King delivers his I Have a Dream speech in front of nearly 250,000 people following the Civil Rights March on Washington, D.C. In his most famous speech, Dr. King talks about how his 4 children should not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Those few words that Dr. King had stated are some of the most powerful words that are written in his speech, I Have a Dream. They are the most powerful words for anyone living in that time. For people like Rosa Parks, who didn't stand up for a white man, but stood up for injustice. Singers like Maya Angelou, Nina Simone, and Bob Dylan, who sung about the injustice in America's society. Congressional leaders like John Lewis and Thurgood Marshall, who changed the status quo by being the first African Americans in their positions. Athletes like Jackie Robinson, the first African American baseball player. Muhammad Ali, civil rights activist, and a heck of a boxer. And who was at the forefront of it all? Martin Luther King Jr.